Hello, everyone. My name is Kaya Edwards, and I serve as the Program Manager for the North Carolina Business Committee for Education, or NCBCE. We are a nonpartisan nonprofit that is housed in the Office of the Governor, and our primary goal is to connect employers to students and job seekers through work-based learning opportunities. Today, I'm going to be highlighting some of the ways that employers and educators can get engaged with our organization, as well as show a short demo of the Navigator tool. You will now see that we have quite a few initiatives that our office partakes in, all of which are focused on connecting employers to educators. The first is Students at Work. This is a middle school job shadowing program that takes place during the month of March, in which over 40,000 students are able to connect with employers through worksite tours, field trips, as well as guest speaking. Next is Teachers at Work. This is an externship program for educators who are interested in learning more about what skills employers are looking for in the 21st century. Next is Link It. This is our internship program for individuals with autism spectrum disorder. We're able to provide job and skills coaching for them, as well as provide internships and full-time opportunities in the future. Next is the Governor's Educator Discovery Award. This is a $1,000 stipend for educators who are interested in pursuing professional development opportunities. Educators who are looking to advance themselves through certifications, attend workshops, or new projects are encouraged to participate in the program and apply in the upcoming cycle. Next is the Navigator, which I will highlight. And finally is Ready, Set, App. This is a mobile app development competition for high school students who are interested in solving problems in their school or community through technology. NC Career Connections is our new partnership with the North Carolina Virtual Public Schools, in which we're charging employers to serve as a speaker for students at least bi-weekly. We're asking employers just to highlight their career and what they do on a day-to-day to really provide some visibility into the talent pipeline that is missing so far. We are also working on the Remote Learning Working Group. This is a partnership with several nonprofit organizations as well as businesses and organizations to really find a way to target solutions and support for students who are missing that broadband connectivity for their education in this upcoming year. Now I will be highlighting the Navigator tool, which is a free platform for employers and educators who are really interested in getting in and providing students with that input that they need to make informed career decisions. The Navigator was launched in December of 2018 in partnership with Fidelity Investments, and today we have over 70,000 educators who have jumped onto the tool and are ready to get engaged with employers like you. Now, what is work-based learning and why is it important? For the students, it really provides that relevance to classroom learning. Students are able to determine what they like and what they don't like about careers, and they're able to make wiser investments when it comes to their educational dollars. Students cannot see themselves in a career that they've never heard of, so it's important for employers to get engaged as early as possible to really cater and develop that talent pipeline that they're looking for. For employers, we recognize that work-based learning is an under-leveraged resource. Employers who engage as early as middle school are able to develop that talent pipeline and raise awareness of their services, products, and expand their consumer base. You're also reducing onboarding costs, controlling churn, and increasing productivity. For employers who jump in with work-based learning, they're able to see the importance of getting students engaged as early as possible. The Work-Based Learning Navigator. Now, as I mentioned before, the best part of this tool is it is free. If you visit the Work-Based Learning Navigator site, the first thing that you're going to see is an About page, and for educators, there are 3 different ways to search on the site. First, by keyword, an interactive county map in which you hover over the county that you're interested in, and you're able to see which resources are populated. And you can also filter, which I'll go into more detail shortly. Any educator in North Carolina who has access to NC EdCloud is already able to access the site. All you have to do is log in with your NC EdCloud credentials through your PowerSchool dashboard, and you're signed on to the platform. For employers, we do ask you to complete an organizational sign-up form, which I'll go over shortly. As I mentioned, if you're signing in as an educator through the tool, you can log in with your NC EdCloud. However, through our partnership with the Department of Public Instruction, we also have the Navigator icon embedded on the PowerSchool platform. The same place that you find your grades and your students is the same place where you can locate the Navigator icon. It looks like a little blue compass, and when you click on it, you're already verified and you're already able to search for resources on the tool. This is an example of what the tool looks like for an educator once you sign on. As I mentioned, you can filter by county, resource type, target audience, career cluster, as well as a delivery mechanism. All of these resources are free. Now, I'll be lying to you if I didn't say that we didn't have competition. However, the biggest difference is we're making work-based learning accessible for everyone. How can you provide work-based learning as a tool if you charge people to use it? Work-based learning should be easy and accessible to everyone who is interested in it, because that is what's helping develop North Carolina's talent pipeline. As an educator, when you are interested in finding a resource and you found something that you like, we do ask for some background information, not only for the employer, but for us, because through our partnership with DPI, we do collect data that helps us learn what's going on with work-based learning across the state and where are the gaps. So in addition to asking that basic contact information, we're going to ask what type of topics do you want the employer to cover? Are there any backup dates if applicable, and any type of notes that you need the employer to have? Once your resource has been completed and the employer has connected with your students and the resource is done, we are going to ask you to have some additional questions in order for us to collect that data that I mentioned before. This includes the essential employability skills, industry sector code, as well as a number of students who participated in the event. Now, the million-dollar question is, how does a business join the Navigator and post a resource? First, you have to fill out an organization sign-up form. And this form is not difficult to complete. It'll take about 2 minutes of your time, and once you do so, anyone from your organization can sign on to the tool. We do ask for some basic information, your organization name, as well as your contact information, and we do ask that you indicate the work-based learning opportunities that you currently offer. Now, keep in mind, this is not written in stone, so if anything changes, you are free to make those edits in your settings. If your company currently offers guest speaking or internships or worksite tours, indicate that. Now, in the age of virtual learning that we're in now, you may be offering some additional virtual resources. You may not be able to offer some of the guest speaking that you had before in person, but we do encourage you to turn that around and make it a virtual experience for the students. Whether it's pre-recorded or live, NCBCE is more than happy to engage with you and walk you through that process to make it a high-quality experience for both you and the educators. Once your organization has been validated, and the validation process takes about 24 to 48 hours to complete, and this process is important to ensure that the safety of the students and educators is implied. Your organization will then be invited to start creating resources, adding your employees, and updating any company settings that you need to do so. Updating your company settings can include your social media handles or direct links to your website. Adding employees is easy. All you have to do is add their email address in the indicated slot, and then you're able to send them an invitation automatically. They do not have to complete the same validation process because you as a super admin have already done so. Now, as I mentioned, there is a role called the super admin and the business user. The super admin is the one that sets the presence of the organization onto the site. They are the ones that have the ultimate control and are able to invite users. Business users cannot update settings and they cannot invite new people. But depending on the size and the structure of your organization, that may be ideal. Use NCBCE as an example. There are only 4 of us that work in the office, so our executive director has the ability to invite new users. Now, the rest of us only have business user capabilities because there's no one else for us to invite, and we don't need to update the company's settings because the executive director already does so. If you use a company like Fidelity, for example, that has a large industry in multiple sectors, you may want to appoint individuals within each branch to serve as that super admin who can then invite business users to represent their sectors. This makes sense because it's a larger organization. Finally, creating a resource. This is what is going to lead you to direct engagement to the students as well as educators. Once you get invited to the resource card, all of the sources that you've indicated before will auto-populate onto a drop-down menu in which you can select which is appropriate for now. Let's say you wanted to complete a career fair or a guest speaking opportunity virtually. All you have to do is indicate it on the drop-down menu and create new. That'll allow you to be sent to filling out the resource card. We're going to ask for some basic information. What career cluster does it apply to? Who's a target audience? In other words, who is it for? Elementary, middle, high, disconnected youth? There's numerous choices for you to select. We're also going to ask how many students can you accommodate. If it's in person, the number will be smaller. However, virtually, it may depend on the type of package that you have with any type of remote learning resources that you have within your office. For example, Skype or Zoom. And then we're also going to ask for the delivery mechanism. In person, Are the students coming to you? Is it virtual? Or is it a resource that you've already created that you want students and educators to have access to through a downloadable PDF? All of those options are available for you on the Navigator. If you have any supplemental materials that you want to attach, feel free to do so. Also, in the resource description box, please indicate those key words that your organization uses, because those are going to be the words that an educator is going to type in when they're looking by keyword for your resource. If you're a financial organization, be sure to include financial literacy in your resource description, because I guarantee you an educator is going to look for that resource using those words. And of course, the resource name and the featured image can either be your logo or the person that is going to be providing the opportunity. It could be as simple as a headshot. Now, what type of data does a Navigator collect? As I mentioned, we're in partnership with the Department of Public Instruction. So we are really sharing our data with them to provide the insight of what type of gaps are existing in work-based learning, what type of counties or communities are able to get a lot of resources and which ones aren't, and how many students are being impacted by work-based learning on a day-to-day basis. At any time, DPI is able to pull that information for us and make more informed decisions about employer engagement in communities. Now, how is the Navigator data used? As I mentioned, we're assessing gaps in work-based learning. We're promoting work-based learning awareness for underrepresented populations, and we're connecting employers to that new talent. Employers have more control now than ever to be able to develop that talent pipeline that they are seeking, and the Navigator is able to connect those dots that were missing before. And promoting work-based learning for awareness for underrepresented populations is critically important, especially to NCBCE, because all of our initiatives are tailored to equity and accessibility for students across the state. Now, how does this Navigator data improve statewide work-based learning? As I mentioned, we're connecting employers to new talent, and we're promoting work-based learning awareness for underrepresented population. We're working diligently to make sure that even students in rural communities are able to have the same access as those in more affluent communities. Now, educator feedback has been great. As I mentioned, we have over 70,000 educators who are already on the tool, and they're happy to engage. And the most common feedback is we want more. We want more from employers, and we want employers to recognize how important it is stepping to their classrooms and providing that insight for students. Employers, we can no longer rely on outdated hiring practices. We have to get engaged as soon as possible, as early as middle school, and NCBCE makes it as easy as possible to do so. Now, our team, as I mentioned, we're small, but we're mighty. Caroline Sullivan, our executive director, Morgan Crawford, our deputy director, me, program manager, and Olivia Comer, the communications and marketing specialist. We're always happy and willing and ready to help you all get on the Navigator site or get engaged with any of the initiatives that I've mentioned before that may be of interest to you. Contact our office, and we'll start from there. Thank you so much.